Great. All right. Today I'd like to start off with if you could talk to us a little bit about MOZ tools.
Sure. Yeah. So for those who might not know us, we're a software company based in Seattle, Washington. We actually just moved into a new office. I can kind of show you guys a little bit. Ooh, look at the fancy new office. Um, and so lots of software engineering folks working hard on trying to build solutions to help web marketers, particularly those focused on things like SEO and social media and content marketing, with their efforts. So we have a suite of about a dozen tools, including things like Open Site Explorer and Fresh Web Explorer, and Follower Wonk, keyword difficulty, and SERPs analysis, and on and on and on and on and on. And then we have a sort of our primary campaign-focused system, which is MOZ Analytics, and that essentially is designed to help folks, put in their website and their competitors, and track both of those progress over time, be able to look back in time and see how they perform, see what's working and what's not working, get a crawl of their website every week and see if there's anything going wrong, all those kinds of things. Track your keyword rankings, et cetera, et cetera. So it's been fun. We've been kind of growing the software side of the business for about almost 7 years now, and have about 21,000 paying subscribers, and a phenomenal community, and working with a great group of folks here.
Yeah, I saw your videos of the office. It looks like a great place to work. Also, special thanks to Nikki and Ryan for helping put this together.
Yeah, thanks, Nikki.
But I'm going to put a link underneath my name here. That's a special offer that MOZ had put together just for this event, given an additional 60 days to try out their tool.
Yeah.
Pretty awesome. Thank you very much.
Oh yeah, my pleasure. I'm glad the marketing team was able to get something together for us.
Yeah, that's great. But yeah, there's the link right below my name there. If you want to go to that, I'll also post it at the end of the show. But I guess we're going to go into some questions here. We've got some questions. Let me pull up the Q&A. I'll let you pick something you might.
Yeah. Some of these look really good. So, yeah, I see this question from Gregory Johnson, and he's asking, what's the best way to optimize your website when you want to get more clicks for a wide range of people searching for your products or services online? And does it work differently for Google, Bing, Yahoo, Yelp, etc.? So yeah, this is kind of a good question, Gregory, and it gets to a fundamental aspect of SEO that we talk about a lot, which is keyword targeting and the distribution of keyword demand, right? So basically, you have a choice as a website owner and as a marketer about whether you're going to kind of target a few keywords very heavily, and really focus on trying to rank for those few concentrated sets of keyword terms or phrases, or whether you're going to put breadth first and instead try and target a large range of keywords. If you're going after that very tight grouping, generally speaking, that means you have a smaller website with less content on it. It also means that you've determined that your customers or potential customers are really searching for just a few very small, very focused terms, and that that's an important part of keyword research, is to determine whether that's true or not. If you find the other way, right, that instead lots and lots of your potential customers are searching for a huge variety, well then I would actually urge you to go and have a lot of individual pages that are targeting those. I might encourage you to do some content marketing like a blog. You want to not get way too ahead of yourselves and just produce pages for no reason, but you do want to have really a content effort going to try and reach that audience. And then you asked about Bing and Yahoo versus each other, and Yelp and those other ones. There are some peculiarities to each search engine, right? So Bing versus Google. Remember, Bing powers Yahoo, so ranking in Bing and ranking in Yahoo are pretty much equivalent. And Google powers, for example, AOL. So if you're worried about ranking in AOL, ranking in Google is how you achieve that. Yelp is a very different story, but in general, with the major web search engines, right, Google, Bing, and Yahoo here in the U.S., it is the case that the things that you do right for Google are going to propagate over to Bing and Yahoo. And so by and large, you can do those. The one thing I would encourage you to do is sign up for Bing Webmaster Tools. They have their own separate Webmaster Tools from Google, of course. And you can see some of the warnings, suggestions, errors, issues they might have with your site through that.
You can also
really
use Google Webmaster Tools to back that up as well. So.
Yeah, for Google, definitely Google Webmaster Tools. And if you're optimizing just for Google, the one thing I'd urge you to do with Bing is at least sign up for their Webmaster Tools. Take a look at what they're saying in there about your site.
Absolutely. And before we go to the next question, Rand, one thing I wanted to bring up, and you did put a link down below to someone who had you a question earlier. I appreciate you answering that. But Matt Cutts announced last week about the whole blog, guest blogging, and that type of stuff. And I watched that video, and one question I had personally for you was, do you think it's almost in a way that, like, almost where links used to be, like with authorship? The more, I mean, you had said that you recommend that people blog on their own site more than in the guest blogging. My point, what I'm trying to say here is, depending on do you think with the domain authority, say like MOZ or the New York Times or whatever, if you're posting on something like that, do you think that maybe that gives you a boost in authorship? I mean, as opposed to like blogging at joesblog.com or whatever? We lost your audio.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. It's a little button, and apparently if you press it, it's all gone. Yeah, so basically, it's the case that if you, right now, today, there's no authorship-based ranking, right? Google doesn't say, oh, this author has a higher author rank, and so we are going to put their content up first. They don't yet do that. They've been very public about the fact that that doesn't exist. All the tests are showing it doesn't yet exist. But many people in the SEO field are presuming that that's where they may eventually go. And so certainly I would imagine that if you are an author who has written for these high domain authority publications, absolutely, why would it not be the case that that they'd go after signals like that? So if you're doing that sort of preparation work, that's great. And of course, there's tons of benefits to posting on those high authority sites anyway. Those sites are going to be, have very, very high editorial guidelines, which means that you're not going to get into the kind of problematic sketchiness of guest posting that Matt Cutts was talking about on his blog. And so, if you're writing for the New York Times, or if you get a UMOZ post approved by our team here, you've been through an editorial process. Granted, the New York Times is even pickier than we are, but that is exactly the kind of signal that Google's looking for, right? They're looking for someone who says, we don't just let any old content in here. We need something truly uniquely valuable. And if you're contributing that and showing that you're an expert on the topic, and we believe the site that's linking to you, then yes, this will help, validate your link graph.
Right. So, I mean, that's why I wanted to bring that up, because it wasn't something you mentioned, but I do think that, that it would definitely go that way. It makes sense.
Possibly, yeah, quite possibly.
Yeah.
So let's see, and you guys are welcome. It looks like you can, +1 the questions if you want to boost them to the top. Bob O'Haver wants to know. This is you.
No, it's no relation actually.
Really? No way.
No.
A Robert and a Bob, same
we
last
know
name?
each other. We know each other.
Okay, all right. I would like to find out more about rich snippets. I like those pictures on my listing in Google. Yeah. So actually, there's a great resource on that from SEO Gadget, where Richard Baxter from SEO Gadget breaks down like every type of schema.org rich snippet markup that you can possibly get. So I'd urge you, if you search for SEO Gadget schema.org, you will find that resource. That's a great one to be able to find all those different opportunities, and there are quite a few these days.
Yes, and just because you do use the markup doesn't mean it's going to show up.
That's right. Yeah, they're picky about it. They really are.
Yeah.
How does a communication job seeker use SEO to best attract hiring managers and employers, specifically if they have a professional development blog on their site? I actually think this is a phenomenal, this is a phenomenal way to go. And our Howard, thanks for asking that. So, what I like about this approach is essentially saying, I'm going to be inbound. I'm going to let employers come to me. And this happens to me all the time, right? I go and I see a post from a developer that's gone popular on Hacker News. And I always click that about section, especially if they say, I'm currently seeking, or there's something on their sidebar. So this is sort of content marketing for yourself. You're putting out, posts and information and ideas, visuals, videos, whatever it is, that's sort of saying, this is my area of expertise, and then you're letting people find that. And promoting through social media is great. Hacker News, obviously, being an old school form of that. But being able to, they're getting rowdy over here. But being able to do that with SEO by having essentially pieces of content that are keyword targeted, that's another great approach. So I like this focus a lot, and I think there are some emerging platforms that sort of let you do it. But one thing I would definitely urge everyone who's doing this to do: go on LinkedIn and make sure you are using LinkedIn's content sharing platform, right? So LinkedIn does have a way to share, just like Twitter or Facebook, where you can post to it. Right. Make sure that you're putting your posts up there, because that's where a lot of those folks are going to be looking.
Okay. And our next question is rising to the top here.
Oh, yeah. Brandon wants to know, what is your opinion of building links authority to third-party sites? For example, Yelp, YouTube, Google Plus business pages, etc. And do you have suggestions on how to do that? I actually love this. I did a whole whiteboard Friday about why you might want to do SEO for somebody else's website, right? Like linking over. The nice thing about doing this is a lot of the time you'll be seen, your efforts are far less promotional, right, or self-promotional. I mean, right. If you're promoting your own LinkedIn page, okay, that's a little different, right? But if you're promoting, for example, an article that happens to mention you or is kind about you or has some information about you that is sitting on, the New York Times or the Seattle PI or, whatever your local news source of repute might be, that is often much easier to do promotional material for that. The other thing is, because those domains often have a lot of domain authority, they require very few links to get them to tops of the search results, which is a really powerful thing, right? The New York Times, if there's an article on there that you want to rank well, man, half a dozen links from good spots, including your own website, and it'll probably rank on page 1 for whatever you want. That's
unless it has no follow tag, right?
Sorry, say again?
Unless it has a no follow.
Oh yeah, well, okay, obviously, right? Yeah, followed links, right? Like good followed links from good sources. And if you want, Brandon, you can check out that whiteboard Friday that I did on how to do SEO for not your own site, right? For other people's websites. That's a good source on that topic.
And another thing I'd like to add is, don't blast that other website with tons of
links. Yeah, I mean, this is. There's sort of an old school spam technique that used to work. That, and I've heard stories that maybe it sometimes still works, right? But the idea is, this is how you clean your spam links, right? Essentially, so you have a page on the New York Times or wherever, some high authority domain that links to you. You point a bunch of spammy links to that site, knowing that it won't hurt them, but it might help it, and then that sort of passes some extra juice through to you. I don't think that works anymore. I wouldn't try it. I mean, yeah, don't do this. Let's see. Eric wants to know, what's the best way to optimize for multiple cities and states? So the tough part here, Eric, is that it's not just about building pages for these individual cities and states. You also need to be providing unique value, something that someone from that local area would go and find that page and say, wow, this guy really seems to know Oklahoma City, or really seems to know Tulsa, or really seems to know Omaha, or Seattle, or Portland, or whatever it is. Like, you must be providing something that is of clear, unique value, not just keyword targeting, and having a page for every city and state, and then the same content or the same rewritten or spun content for each of those pages. There has to be some unique value, and that's what algorithms like Google's Panda update are designed to address, is those really thin content, just repetitive pages that are trying to target those. So
yeah, you see that a lot with franchise sites where they make multiple sites with the same content. It just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, so the way that I like to do this is to start small and to make sure you really are, either you are or the person writing that page has really been there, is truly an expert, can really provide some value. You know, just getting unique content by, like, you know, drawing up census data and making a graph for each one, and that is not uniquely valuable. You can get that anywhere on the web.
Right.
All right.
Next one.
So Julia wants to know, what does Rand say about Matt Cutz's
we actually just covered that.
revelation? Yeah, we talked about that. Also, I and many others I know and work with would love to know what Rand thinks in general of content trends in 2014. Yeah, so I'll answer the second one since we already talked about the first one. Okay. So web content trends, the way I see things going is essentially we have sort of what I'd call two big trends going on. One is a massive increase in the number of marketers who are interested in and performing content marketing. And because of that, you have much, much more competition than you've ever had before. That increased competition is causing a second trend, which is what I'd call consumer fatigue or content fatigue, right? People who you know, use social media to find content, find things on Reddit, you know, get stuff emailed to them by friends, use Facebook. Like, they are getting overwhelmed. The amount of content that they are receiving or being, you know, able to access is just exponentially larger than it was just a couple of years ago. And so what these two trends together combine to do is they make it such that a content marketer today and for the future is going to have to do two things, in my opinion. Number one, focus on quality over quantity, right? You can't just say, to do content marketing, I'm going to put out a blog post every night. I don't think that's what true, you know, quality, like great content marketing will entail. I think it'll be, I have something truly valuable to share. I have a great way to present it. You know, I've really put in the effort. I'm going to put something out there that is far beyond you know, the quality of what anyone else has done.
Yeah,
the second thing.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I was going to say you know, the second piece of that is not just great quality, but uniqueness of presentation. So being the exception to the rule is going to be more and more and more important, and that means, you know, the standard long scrolly infographic that everyone's seen 100,000 times that has a little chart for everything, that might not be so great anymore. The silly little fun YouTube video might not work as well as it used to. The you know, the standard blog post with just some blocks of text might not work so well. But we're seeing the rise of things like Subtle, right? SVBTLE as a blogging platform, because it's very unique and it really is the exception to the rule in terms of presentation. We're seeing a lot more visual assets do particularly well. You're seeing high quality interactive elements and quizzes and these kinds of things. The New York Times had a great language-based quiz, right, that tried to identify where you were from based on how you answered particular questions. So, you know, there's opportunity.
Yeah, and I think also, I mean, you kind of mentioned it, but the importance of not just puking up what somebody else has written, you know, just kind of be unique with it and stay relevant, obviously.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's see. Coleman asks, it seems like semantic search is a growing trend in the industry. Do you believe there's a shift away from traditional on-page keyword optimization? And how can marketers leverage this in their content marketing strategy? Yeah, so Coleman, I do see this a little bit, right? Google had this big update called Hummingbird that happened last August, and they announced it last September. And with Hummingbird, essentially what they said is we're moving more away from keywords and specifically targeting keywords to topics, right? And the way that they're, you know, valuing stuff is based on your relevance to the topic, not to the keyword. I don't think keyword targeting is going away anytime soon, but I do think it's becoming a little less critical. And this is a great thing for marketers because it means that I can, for example, target an important keyword term or phrase, and if I am producing truly wonderful content that is getting shared and amplified and getting all these signals that Google likes, then in fact what will happen is Google will recognize that and start ranking me for lots of terms and phrases, sort of in a fuzzy match kind of way, that I wouldn't ordinarily have been able to rank for. That's a wonderful thing, right? It's like extra opportunity, extra traffic, extra benefit for producing something great. And so as a content marketer, you experience these benefits if you are putting out that really best of breed content. But I would still urge you to do keyword research and keyword targeting, because those things still are important to SEO.
Absolutely. All right. Let's see. Eric has a question.
Yeah, let's see. Yes, Eric. So, what's the value of a parallax piece of content from an SEO perspective? Is it useful, or is it a gimmick like Flash? So I don't think parallax. I don't think parallax or Flash are gimmicks. I think they can be. They're not useful from an SEO perspective on their own. What they're useful for is if that presentation format amplifies or increases your chance of amplification, then it will help your SEO, right? So this is really about user experience and my ability to have this go far and wide across the web. And if Flash helps that, great. If Parallax helps that, great. If something else helps that, complex JavaScript, video, whatever, great.
Yeah, you are kind of limited though, because it is one page, so it's your optimization is limited for what you're trying to optimize.
Yeah, you can do, you can have that internal sort of JavaScript, the hash bang system, if you want to go that route, to make sure that individual sections of the page are reachable individually. And Google's done a pretty good job of making that indexable. But yeah, so I think about the parallax thing as is this the best way your users want to receive this, and should it be a single page? Let's not forget that lots of people do search as their primary navigation, so we just have to keep that in mind.
Right. Okay. We'll answer a couple more questions, and I don't know how much time you got.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's see. Brandon, how much effort and time would you recommend putting into building an online relationship for SEO purposes before asking for something? For example, reading blog posts, following on social, commenting on things, banter back and forth. Okay, so this is actually a really hard question, and the reason is, so think of it this way. This is akin to asking, how much time do you think I should spend getting to know a guy or a girl before I ask them out on a date? It really is the same. It's really very, very similar, right? Dating relationships sort of magnify that and create that familiarity, but this is the same principle. And so sometimes it's just magic, right? There's a connection that forms really early on, and you feel like you can ask that person out on a date right away. Great. And sometimes that happens in online relationships too. And the first time you leave a comment on someone's blog, you feel that connection between the two of you. That person responds. You fire over an email. You go, hey, I know this is out of blue, but I think we should work on this thing together. I think this is a powerful partnership that could be forming. And they're like, yeah, I feel that too. And sometimes you've got to feel your way through it. And there's nothing but that I can recommend except keep working that empathy muscle and see if you can flex that to the point where you really understand how online relationships work.
All right.
Sorry for not having a more clear and concise answer for that one, but what's your opinion? Jeremy wants to know, what's your opinion on reposting a viral post? Say 90% original content, 10% accreditation and comments, and then retweeting, Facebook posting, and Google Plusing back to your site. Okay, I think I know what you're asking, Jeremy. Let me see if I've got this right by providing an example. So let's say I see a visual, that does really, really well on social media, and it comes from somebody else's blog, and so I decide, hey, you know what? I actually have some interesting things of my own to add to that visual, and some context and some additional concepts, and I want to extract out some things. I'm going to post the visual on my site, give them credit, link back to their site, and I'm going to add my thoughts and my content as well. I'm going to put it on my blog, and then I'm going to share that all over the web. Absolutely legitimate, totally legitimate, and in fact probably will be really appreciated by the person who originally put together the information or the post or the visual or whatever it is. I think the only time this becomes dangerous is when you're really trying to hijack something from someone else. So you take something. A visual is a good example, right? You take a visual, maybe it's a graphic or a picture or an animated GIF, and you remove the watermark and you put it on your site, and your credit to them is very small and hard to find or non-existent at all, and you try and take credit for that yourself as though you were the creator of it. That gets dangerous. People remember that. They will find the original. When the original person complains, it goes very badly, and I've seen a lot of folks suffer from this. I think this is actually one of the reasons that people like BuzzFeed and the Huffington Post are having a harder and harder time with each piece of content they put out, getting people to share and link to it. It's not as easy for them as it used to be, which was just publish and people shared. Now there's skepticism and judgment because they've taken a lot of other people's work and made it their own.
Great. All right, we got Danny has a question.
Oh, okay. Danny, yes. What's your strategy to overcome not provided traffic in order to see how your efforts in keywords are working? Danny, I do two things. The number one thing I do is I track my rankings, and I know that rank tracking is not perfect and certainly not as good as that other stuff, but in combination with tracking landing page traffic sent by search engines, I can sort of mash those two together and get an approximate sense of how valuable targeting particular terms, phrases, or groups of terms and phrases is for me. And that, that's good enough to let me know, hey, it's really, SEO tools is still worth focusing on as a keyword, as a broad set of keywords, and maybe something like, content marketing software is not so effective. So those are the two things I do.
And you could track that in MOZ tools as well, right? Yeah,
that's right. It's in MOZ Analytics. And in fact, the MOZ Analytics team has a new algorithm that they're launching in the next little while. I don't know exactly how long, but that's actually trying to predict keyword not provided. So give you back that keyword information predictively. It won't be perfect either, but it'll be sort of our best guesstimate of the terms and phrases that we think are sending traffic to a page. So that could be cool too.
Yeah.
Brandon, yeah, finding experienced link builders is tough. No kidding. Where do you look and how do you attract them? So I actually don't always go after, and I don't always advise businesses to go after experienced link builders. I think it certainly can be valuable to find those folks, but a lot of the time a great partnership, business development, even a salesperson, a community person. Community people are fantastic at this. Those sort of relationship builders inside your company can become great link builders. And really this is less about, hey, let's go out and find all the open places on the web where we could possibly get a link, and more about, let's do things that create value around our brand that also happen to carry a link. And that's, Google is trying to shut down link building, but they still want to reward link earning, right? Doing things that shows Google, that shows the world that you are worthy of a link and giving it to you. And so, I really encourage marketers to think of themselves as needing to do link earning and not link building. And I think a lot of the time that is more effectively done in-house. You can go out and get a consultant who has some experience and get them to train up your internal folks, spend some time with them. That can help out. But yeah, that would be my tact. David wants to know, is it more beneficial to have multiple Google Plus authors on a small company's blog or one Google Plus author that has more followers? It's probably a wash, David. And highly dependent, right? It's not, like I said, Google doesn't yet have an author ranking system, so it's not like they look at a blog and they go, well, this author contributed, that author contributed, and this one did, and so rank the content from this blog, here instead of here. That's not going on yet. And I don't know honestly for sure whether it will in the future. But the way I think about this is, if you have people who are producing content that's truly valuable, that you really want on your blog, that you know your potential customers and influence of your potential customers are going to enjoy, then great, get them contributing. And if that's not the case, then don't have those people contribute. And I wouldn't worry about multiple authors and how many followers they have and those kinds of things. Those will come naturally.
Okay, Rand, I want to end this out with one big question, and it's the main reason you're here, is what is your strategy for 2014, or what should we look for to make things improve our sites and rank and all that? But before I go into, well, I guess go ahead and answer that question. And then,
yeah, so for me, I think 2014 is about a year of expansion and overlap, right? And what I mean by that is the job of SEO has gotten much bigger than just doing SEO, right? Classic like keyword targeting and research, and then on-page optimization and link building. It's gotten to a point where all the things I do for social impact my SEO. All the things that I do for content impact my SEO. All the things that I do around community building impact my SEO. Everything I do around SEO impacts content and community and social and all these other inbound channels. And so, as we look at our 2014, we really think about executing in multiples of these channels, not focusing exclusively on one, and then trying to measure and concentrate on the overlap between them and find the ones that are really driving the flywheel, right, that are creating consistent recurring value, and where we can push a little and get a lot of value out of those across channels. So that's,
it boils down to user.
Yeah, so user experience is a huge part of this, but I think that the connection between you produce a piece of content, it gets shared socially, the people who you interact with and engage with in a community fashion are more likely to amplify it. That amplification earns you links, that helps you rank well. If you chose good keywords, that can also correlate with people's interests, which means it goes further on social, which bolsters your community next time, and now you have a bigger audience, right? It's just this cycle over and over and over again of things building on each other.
Yeah. Did you see the question I selected? He's looking for the Holy Grail.
Why isn't writing a high-quality guest post considered link earning anymore? What about the writer's labor? It's not high quality, it's editorial control, right? What Google's saying is a high-quality guest post, which, by the way, is everyone's opinion about what high quality means is different, right? But yeah,
yeah, Matt Cutts' his interpretation was very vague. I think the question is, what is quality content?
What is quality content? So if you have a very tough editorial gauntlet to get through in order to have that content published, then it will probably count. Right. And if there's not much of a gauntlet, then don't worry about it. Oh, what is the best SEO strategies for 2014? Show me the Holy Grail. Well, so there's this one meta tag that if you just put that in the top of all your pages, you rank #1 for everything. But I can't tell you what it is. I'm sorry.
Awesome. Where's the whiteboard?
Shh. I'm sworn to secrecy.
Okay. Sure. All right. I think that's it. I do want to ask if you would mention MozCon. I'm going to try and be there, and I would like to know what it's all about and what to expect.
Yeah, so with MozCon, it's a keynote style conference. So we have some of the best and brightest presenters bringing their best material, oftentimes putting together a lot of unique research and content just for their presentations at MozCon. And what we do is, myself and the 134 other Mozers here go to a lot of events. We see a ton of speakers, and MozCon is invite only, so you can't pitch to come and speak. You basically, if we or someone in our network sees you, thinks that you are absolutely an amazing, remarkable speaker on a particular topic that we think marketers are interested in, we will invite you. We'll fly you out. We'll put you up, and we'll ask you to bring some of your best stuff. And because of that, we've been able to really attract build a phenomenal conference. So it's about I think there was about 1,200 attendees last year. It's in July. It's here in Seattle, Washington, which is a nice place to come in the summer. Nice. Less so in the winter, but yeah.
What's it like now?
Rainy, 40 degrees. You know, gets dark at 4:30 p.m. So not the greatest.
All right. Well, I appreciate you taking out the time. Some of these questions I can answer offline, or definitely get back to you on them. I really, really appreciate it. It's been a real honor, and maybe I would like
Yeah,
to have you back sometime.
my pleasure. Thank you for having me, Robert. Really
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
Cool.
Thank you.
Take care.